Good morning. Good morning. Today we are going to look at Unit 9. We'll look at Unit 9, which is to do with internet basics. Okay, this is to do with the internet basics. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at: the basics of internet. So internet, the term internet is derived from two words. We have the interconnections and the networks. It is also referred to as the net, that is internet. It's also referred to as the net. So now one key important factor I need to understand is that internet basically is a worldwide system of computer networks. That is, we are saying a network of networks which allow the participant, in this case we're talking about users, to share information. So we talked about the networks, okay, which is a connection between a connection between one or two or more computers. So now we are saying, when you talk about that kind of arrangement, uh, you you cannot talk about internet without talking about the network, because the word internet is derived from the word network. So in short, we are talking about interconnection of different networks. Okay, so it consists of thousands of separately administered networks of various sizes and types. Okay, it consists of thousands of separately administered networks of various sizes and types. Each of these networks Each of these networks comprise tens of thousands of computers. Okay, there are tens of thousands of computers which actually are interconnected in terms of allowing them to be able to share resources. Okay, that is the the basic idea of networks. But now let's look at the evolution of internet. So we are saying the foundation of internet was laid in 1969 by the Department of Defense of United States of America. So they wanted to create a computer network that could constitute a function that could continue to function even in the event of a disaster, such as the nuclear war. So it's important to note that during this time, the internet was only being used by the defense forces. Okay, it was only being used by the defense forces. So now, the network was known as the ARPANET. Okay, so this network was known as the ARPANET, or Advanced Research Project Network, which linked the USA scientific and academic researchers. So it was only able to link the scientists as well as the academics, meaning people in the research and yeah, mostly in the research. So now, it was the forerunner of today's internet. The ARPANET actually was the forerunner of today's internet. Okay, so what we are saying is before today's internet, there was there were this ARPANET. Okay, let's look at the basic internet terms. We have what is known as the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web. So the World Wide Web, abbreviated as the WW, is basically a collection of linked documents or pages. Okay, these pages are stored on millions of computers and distributed across the network. Okay, they are stored on millions of computers and distributed across the networks. That's the World Wide Web, WW, which is a collection of linked documents. This is the catchment area, linked documents. So these documents are linked. We have quite a number of documents which are linked. Okay, and these are stored on millions of computers and distributed across the world. Okay, distributed across the world. Then beside the linked document or pages under the www, we also have what we call the website. A website is basically a set of related web pages linked through hypertext links or published by an organization or an individual. Okay, that's a website. Is a set of related web pages linked through the hypertext linked, published by an organization or an individual. So you have these web pages, and these web pages must be related. They are related. Okay, so these web pages are related. Okay, and despite beside them being related, they are also linked. And once they've been linked, they are published on an organization or by an organization or an individual. Then you have what we call the URL or Uniform Resource Locator. Uniform Resource Locator or URL. This is a web page. Okay, we're saying each web page has a unique address called a URL that identifies its location on the internet. Okay, so this is the URL. It's basically a unique address, okay, for each web page. Okay, just like you have various addresses of your homes and the other places where you stay. So even the web pages, they've got these specific addresses. Okay, they've got these specific addresses such that these specific addresses is basically what is referred to as the URL or Uniform Resource Locator. Then we have what we call the Internet Service Provider. So an Internet Service Provider is an organization that connects its subscribers' computers using using the modem to the internet. The modem. So modem is basically a combination of two words. We have modulator, modulator, and demodulator, demodulator. Okay, so this is the modem. The combination of this one modulates the signal and another one decode it. Okay, one encodes and another one decodes it. So what we are saying is that an internet service provider is an organization that connects its subscriber computers using modem to the internet. Okay, so you use this modem to connect to the computer, and now we have this, for instance, here in Zambia we have the Airtel modem and the Zamtel and the other internet service providers. Okay, getting connected to the internet, what would you need? Okay, it's a very good question. When you want to connect yourself to the internet, what is it that you need? You need the computer. You need the computer, then you need the modem. Like I said, the modem is a modulator and demodulator. Okay, so modulator or demodulator is a hardware which converts digital data into analog signal. Okay, so this is the modem. It's a hardware device, of course, that converts digital data into analog signal and vice versa. Okay, then that is the process known as modulation. So that can be sent over an analog telephone line and convert the analog signal back into digital data, demodulation. So in short, what we are saying is that a modem is a digital um, is a device or hardware device that convert digital data into analog signal. Okay, that's a modem. It converts a device, hardware device that converts digital data into analog signal. Okay, then you also need internet connection. So internet connection, so in short, they were saying for you to connect to the internet, you need at least a computer or any other device that um, is able to connect to the internet. Okay, you need that. Okay, so um that's the internet. So a modem. Okay, then you need the modem. That's what you are saying. Of course, not just a computer or any other device that is able to access the internet can be used to connect to the internet. Internet connection, you can connect using dial-up. Of course, this is slowly being phased out. Of course, nowadays we are using broadband, as you're going to see. So a dial-up connection is the access method that uses a telephone line to connect to the internet. Okay, so this technology basically uses a telephone line to connect to the internet, where the same telephone line where you connect the RJ11, you can unplug it and then you plug an RJ11 cable into the modem and then the machine, then you'll be able to access the internet. Now, with the coming in of mobile devices, and the phasing out of these other devices such as the landlines and so forth. So this is really being phased out as well. It's not widely used. Okay. Okay, you also need what we call internet connection. Okay, now internet connection can be you can either use ISDN or what we call integrated service digital network. Okay, and this technique involves the digitization of a telephone network so that the voice, graphics, text, and other data can be provided to users from a single terminal over an existing telephone line. Now, it is important to note, okay, it is important to note that when you talk about the dial-up, mostly it was you are just able to transmit text. Okay, you are just able to transmit text and not other aspect of media systems. But with the coming in of the ISDN, or the integrated service digital network, because of the digital aspect, it was possible now to actually transmit. Instead of voice, we could also transmit graphics, text, and other data. Okay, you can transmit them from one end to the other. Okay, so this was possible using the ISDN. So you also need a cable modem. A cable modem connects the user to the internet through a cable television line. Okay, so this is another form of communicating or connecting to the internet that was being used in the olden days, but at the moment this is no longer applicable. Okay, that's a cable modem. Then you have the DSL, or digital subscriber line. Digital subscriber line provided through an existing phone line. This is provided through an existing phone line, but it works differently than the regular analog modem dial-up access. Okay, so the DSL operates over normal telephone lines, and it can be used simultaneously with the telephone. Okay, it can be used simultaneously with the telephone. This is another form of connecting to the internet. Then we have the broadband, which is the commonly used. So this type of access is good for remote location where ISDN and the cables or DSL are not available. This is broadband, where you talk about the aspect of wireless network. You don't need cables, you don't need physical connections here and there in order for you to access or to go online. So because of this, the broadband is the one that is currently widely used. Internet software. Internet software. To connect to the internet, a computer requires mainly three different kinds of software. Okay, a computer requires only three different kinds of software. We have what we call the TCP/IP, the dialer software, and the browser. Okay, TCP/IP, dialer software, and the browser. So to connect to the internet, a computer requires mainly three different kinds of software. It's a computer, not you. Okay, so the TCP/IP is the basic communication protocol of the internet. Is the basic communication protocol of the internet. That is the TCP/IP. Okay. Well, when talk about the dialer software, so when talk about the basic communication protocol of the internet, we are saying for you to be able to communicate over the internet, you need the TCP, transmission control protocol stroke internet protocol. Okay, transmission control protocol and stroke internet protocol. So for you to be able to communicate over the internet, you need that. Then dial software. This is a software provided by the internet service provider to instruct the modem to dial the phone number and to identify the user machine to the access provider system for access to the network. So this is basically provided by the internet service provider. That's the dialer software. Then you need the browser to allow the user to view the information available on the World Wide Web. You can have access to the internet, but if you don't have a browser, really you cannot access any information on the World Wide Web. So in short, what are we saying? For you to be able to connect to the internet, for a computer to connect to the internet, you need these three aspects. Okay. Um, let's look at the internet applications. Internet application. We have emails or electronic mails. Electronic mail or email is a fast, easy, and inexpensive way of communicating with other internet users around the world. Okay, so you communicate fastest you communicate fast through electronic mails. Okay, you send an email as opposed to a letter writing as it used to be in the olden days, but you can communicate very fast to the you can communicate very fast with other people across the internet through across the internet through the use of electronic mails or emails. Then file transfer protocol. So the file transfer protocol is a set of rules that enables a user to transfer files from one system to another. Okay, it's a set of rules that enables users to transfer files from one system to another. So for you to be able to transfer a file from one system to another or from one device to another, you need a file transfer protocol. Remember, these are internet applications. Then you have telnet. The term telnet is derived from telecommunications and networks and is a protocol that allows a user to log on to a remote computer. So through this application, you can configure your machine so that you are able to access it remotely regardless of where you are. Okay, so you can access the machine. You'll be able to make configuration or make changes, access files and so on your machine remotely. Okay, then you have chatting and instant messaging. So chat programs allow users on the internet to communicate with each other by typing in real time. Okay, so they are sometimes included as features of a website, okay, where the users can log into chat rooms to exchange comments and information about the topics addressed on the site. Okay, so this is chatting and instant messaging. WhatsApp is a very good example of this aspect because you can chat and do some sending and the receiving of files over the WhatsApp. Then we have video conferencing. This one uses the same technology as instant message, but it also provides sound and video pictures. So video conferencing, you are able to talk to other people in real time, like you can video chat on WhatsApp and so on. Commerce through internet. So today, business is taking place through electronic telecommunication media. So nowadays, various organizations offer the facility of shopping. Okay, so today business organization offers the facility of online shopping through what we call e-commerce. Okay, so those are some of the internet application. You need at least to remember some of these. We have emails, file transfer protocol, telnet, chat and instant messages, video conferencing, commerce, and everything. Okay, so in programming, you'll be required to program some of these aspects in order for you to be able to appreciate at least how they operate. Then electronic mail. Generally, there are two parts of an email. Okay, whatever email address you have, there are two parts. We have the logon identity and the identity of the email server. Okay, so these are separated by the @ symbol. Okay, so there are two parts. The first part is the logon identity. Okay, the logon identity and the identity of the server, meaning your identity, you as a user, and then as the other part is the server. So for instance, I can type here, I can type my email address, Charlotte Manga at gmail.com. So you find that this part, the first part, identifies me as a user, and then the other one is basically for the server. The other part, this is saying that my mails are saved with Google. Okay, Google, these are Google mails. So we're saying we have the logon identity, which is this one, and then the identity of the server, which is the Gmail. That is the electronic mail. So electronic mail can be defined as the process of exchanging messages electronically via communication network using computer. Okay, so to use email, one must have access to the internet and an email account. Okay, so you need to have access to the internet for, and as well as have an account. Okay, so an email account is a service that allows the user to send and receive emails through the internet. So that's the email. Uh, that's an email account. Okay, now how does this work? How does the email work? Okay, so to send an email, you need a connection to the internet, and also you need to have access to the mail server. Okay, it is this mail server which forwards the email. Okay, so for you to achieve this, the standard protocol that you need to use is called the SMTP, or simply Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Okay, so this is the protocol that you use to send an email from one person to the other. You need an SMTP. Okay, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So this Simple Mail Transfer Protocol works in conjunction with what we call the POP, okay, or Post Office Protocol. Post Office Protocol. And another protocol it works with is the IMAP, or Internet Mail Access Server. Okay, so now what happens here is that when an email is sent to a person who has an email address like this one, where we have someone at gmail.theirdomain.com. So what happens is that The email is broken down into two parts, like we saw there. The logon, which is someone, okay, or the recipient's account name, and we also have the domain.com. This is the recipient's domain name, okay, the domain recipient domain name. So this is basically what happens whenever you send an email. You know that this is going to be divided into two parts: the logon account as well as the identity, which identifies the server that is currently being used. Okay, first about email Netiquette. So what we are saying is that we're trying to talk about ethical issues when you are communicating online. So communicating online, whether by email, chat rooms, or message boards, is informal. Okay, so it is informal, quick, and easy. However, there are certain unsaid rules that should be followed. Okay, we need to follow some of these rules. And the one is that the first rule is that you never do anything online that you would not do in real life. You have to be yourself. Okay, you should never do anything that you never do in real life. So good discussion should always be welcomed, but do not waste others' time with useless queries when you're discussing online. Don't waste people's time. Okay. Then do not use all uppercase letters, because using all caps equates to yelling. So this is somehow disrespectful in some cultures. So you need to be mixing the letters. Then you have to respect other people's privacy and copyright. You have to ensure that you are not the only one, but you have to respect also other internet users. When someone makes a mistake, whether it is a spelling error, unnecessarily long answer, you have to be kind about it and don't just blast them out like that. So these are some of the rules, some good ethical issues that you need to consider while communicating online. Searching the web. So the internet provides access to a wealth of information on countless topics contributed by people throughout the world. Okay, so a search engine searches a database of internet files collected by a computer program called a wanderer or a crawler or a spider. Okay, so a search engine searches a database of internet files, okay, that are collected by a computer program through called the wanderer, crawler, or the spider. Okay, so a search engine allows the user to enter keywords relating to a particular topic and retrieve information about the internet site containing those keywords. In short, we are saying this connects and looks at servers that contain certain information that you are looking for. Okay. Okay, so you look at this in that regard. So the component of a search engine, these are the components of a search engine. We have what we call the spider. The spider is basically a program that traverses the web from link to link, identifying and reading pages to basically help you with what you are searching. Okay, that's what the spider does. It traverses the web. Okay, It keeps on searching from link to link, from one link to the other, in order to provide you with the information that you are looking for. Then we have what we call the indexing software. The indexing software, this one is a program that analyzes the web pages that are downloaded by Spider. Okay, analyzes the web pages that are downloaded by the Spider. So the Spider traverses from link to link. Then the indexing software basically downloads them and um, present them to you. Then the database, this is basically a warehouse of the web pages downloaded and processed. Okay, so you have now the database of the list of databases that contains the information you are looking for or displayed for you. Then the search engine mechanism, this software that enables users to query the index and that usually returns the result in relevancy ranked order. So this is the search engine mechanism that makes you to have this information displayed in that particular order. So these are the components of a search engine: Spider, indexing, database, search engine mechanism. Then data over the internet. So the data in terms of internet primarily comprises the hypertext documents containing links that connect to other documents or files. Okay, so this document may even include the animation and multimedia components. Okay, because that is why now you have all this kind of information presented out there so that people can be able to access and make use of it. So depending upon how information displayed in the browser, the displayed data can be classified into two categories. We have what we call the static component and the um, the, the dynamic component. So static, just the information does not change, it remains the same, whereas under the dynamic aspect, it changes depending on a particular situation. Okay, when you're talking about internet, another thing you need to understand is the aspect of viruses. Okay, it being a worldwide interconnection of different networks and so forth, so you cannot easily trust the other network which you are not privy to. Okay, so you may not be able to trust the security mechanism that have been put in place from one end. As a result, you can be a victim of the viruses and so on. So when you talk about a virus, you are basically saying that the virus basically stands for Vital Information Resources Under Siege. Okay, that's what the virus stands for: Vital Information Resources Under Siege. This is basically a program or a small code of segment which is written with a malicious intent. This program is written to ensure that vital information is seized without your intention. Okay, so it has the capability to attach itself to existing programs or files and infect them, as well as replicate itself without the user's knowledge or permission. That is what the virus is capable of doing. It can replicate itself on important document without you, the user, having any knowledge about it. So there are many kinds of viruses, and the levels of destructiveness of viruses varies widely. Okay, some viruses display pictures or messages on the screen periodically. Others just erase or destroy programs and the data. Okay, so these are some of the examples that we have. We have both sector viruses, file infecting viruses, stealth viruses, polymorphic viruses, and Trojan horse. Okay, ill effects of viruses. What are the effects? The effect of viruses is that they can corrupt the data. Okay, they can corrupt the data. They can increase the size of the file. Just keep on chewing your memory, and all of a sudden you just discover that you no longer have enough space on your machine. Then formatting the hard disk. They can format your hard disk. They can slow down the system, can also manipulate the directory content, also even renaming the files with different name extensions altogether. Okay, and you can avoid this through the use, so you can avoid this replication through the use of antiviruses. Okay, so this marks the end of this presentation.